So here's where we're at. Let's summarize all this. We know that Matt is not happy with WPEngine. We don't really know why. He's tried to couch it under the terms of them not giving back in the form of contributing. I think he wants 5% or the equivalent of 5% of what the company's gross revenue is to be that much energy and money equivalent or whatever be put into contributing to the WordPress core. But this is another topic worth visiting as well. It's not that easy. It's not that simple. Each WordPress product release, each new release of WordPress has a team appointed to lead it. There's usually a different leader of each team. There's usually a theme. I'll talk about that in a second. And there is also a very strict sort of way you get new commits into the WordPress core. It is, if you can imagine, let's say I've got a little piece of code that I want to get in the WordPress core. I've already got the code made. I've tested it on my sites. I know this would be a good addition to core. So I've got to first get my login credentials to talk to all these people. I've got to submit my proposed changes to this special system, the track system that they have. It's going to go get viewed by a bunch of people. There's going to be a back and forth. People will always object to something. It's a nauseating process. I hate involving others in that way. This is how some software works. I think it's a joke of a way to do it. I'm just telling you this is how WordPress does it. I think it's an absolutely substandard way of operating. It doesn't matter what I think. This is what they do, and this is what anyone who wants to contribute must deal with. So basically, if I have this piece of code, I've already written the piece of code. I already have it. Just stick it in the damn core and move on. It's not like that. Now I'm going to, let's say I spend a few hours building that code. Now I'm going to spend like at least 10 hours of my life interfacing and back and forthing with the people involved, the commitment team, the core commit team for whoever's leading it this go-round, going to deal with all this nonsense and all these questions and all these what-abouts and what-ifs and all this nonsense. And then, some tweaked version of the thing will finally make it in the core, and I get my contribution. But we're talking about serious gnashing of teeth to get there, and a lot of wasted, just so much energetic waste, time waste, money waste, energy waste, all this stuff. I have a very clear grasp of this because I've been running my own company for freaking, 16 and a half years. I know what it takes and what all this stuff is and how much time is required of me to deal with others in like a political fashion and a communications type fashion to get something approved, right? I don't need that own approval. I run my own company. I come up with new code. It's already in there right now. There's no discussion. There's no politics. There's no nonsense. It's already over. It's a super efficient activity. By contrast, the way commits happen in the WordPress core is about as inefficient as it could possibly be. It is, it is super, super inefficient. Like pretty much nothing is getting in. If only immigration ran this way, right? Anyway, that's a joke because WordPress is super leftist. They want to run their stuff like a tight ship. But no. You're not allowed to do the same. What a joke. I just hate the hypocrisy in all this. Like it's so naked and people don't seem to see it and they still want to be bootlickers and stuff. I'm like, come on, it's disgusting, bro. Figure it out. Anyway. Bottom line is it's a pain in the ass to contribute to the WordPress core. You're going to deal with a lot of waste. It's mostly wasted time. It's like 95% wasted time, 5%. Yay, I got my commit in WordPress. Who cares? Another thing that's problematic is the team that's leading the WordPress, next WordPress release might be really, have a lot of animosity toward you. I'm a white man. A few years ago, there was a release team that was all female and supposed to be like LGBTQ allies also. It was like all female in that. So that was like the theme. You think they're going to be that happy about receiving a code commit from Chris Pearson? Really? So there's more to this. And so if you're WPEngine, if you're a business who has to make rational decisions, you have to throw out the emotion, the dumb stuff. You have to look at this and say, well, I'm going to be paying at least one employee, possibly a few employees, to waste 95% of their time to get this code, the commit into WordPress core. And the only reason I'm doing this is because Matt is forcing me to do so, or else he's going to do this scorched earth, go nuclear, go to war, this terrible rhetoric. That's what he's going to do to you if you don't comply. Well, a company like WPEngine has decided that, well, He hasn't said anything yet. Maybe he'll never say anything. It's definitely not worth it to them to try and contribute to the WordPress core. It's not easy enough. If they had a way to for companies to submit, they could, like a Git thing, they could show how many of these things these companies have proposed. To me, that would do it, because it shows that they are actively making changes. I'd rather see that. That's more honest, because then we would know how much crap the development team doesn't allow to get through. Or maybe we could laud them and say, oh, they're keeping so much junk at bay. They're really keeping up the integrity of WordPress. We would know more about it, is my point. It'd be more transparent than whatever this extortionist crap is right now. My God. So anyway, all right, I'm gonna wrap up this video. I am gonna do another one, which, I'll discuss sort of the psychological impacts and what customers, real world people are actually saying here. But I'm going to leave some predictions here. Number one, I don't think there will be any consequences for Matt Mullenweg whatsoever. Number two, I think if you read through the WPEngine cease and desist letter, the one they sent to Automatic, you get I got a very clear sense. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but I got the sense that Matt Mullenweg behaved in the way that he did because he felt like he had the support of his board and his legal advisors. If that's true, I got a lot of questions, because the board, to me, this is suicidal. This is really stupid. There's no sense in drumming up all this negative energy around the ecosystem. I think it's only going to hurt WordPress as a whole. It hurts the whole ecosystem. It doesn't just hurt WPEngine. It's not going to hurt just Matt Mullenweg. It's going to hurt everybody associated with WordPress and make other people want to look away from WordPress. That seems obvious to me. But also the legality of this, I'm looking at how is Mullenweg not just putting himself out in traffic naked here? He's going to get run over by a semi. This seems really, really stupid every way you slice it. But again, we've only got WPEngine's cease and desist letter to Automatic. Now, I saw today that Automatic released theirs, so I'll cover that in the next video, and also the psychological response of people. But yeah, so it's not a pretty situation. I don't think Mullenweg will have any consequences. I think he had the backing of his board and legal, and I just do not understand that at all, given the information we have right now. So there must be more to the story. They must feel like they have a better case. I don't know what that is. I don't see how they could, though, given the track record of the last 14, 15 years. Doesn't make any sense to me. Also, because this kind of hinged on a trademark claim about the use of WP, I've just got to mention my own trademark history with Matt Mullenweg in particular. I tried to buy the thesis.com domain in 2014. Actually had a multi-year process in this, but 2014 it came to a head. I wanted to buy this domain. And in the negotiations, the dude who was the broker, he's a very smart guy apparently. So he talked to me. We didn't get to a price. I told him I wanted to spend over $10,000, but not too much more if I could. I think something like that. I didn't want to set too high of a bar going in. I want to set expectations low. So then he ends that call, and in the meantime, after talking to me, he went right to Matt Mullenweg. He's like, who's this guy hate? Or who hates Chris Pearson? And he found Matt Mullenweg. He's like, shoot, I can get this offer up, way up. He emails me back and says that Mullenweg says he'd pay $100,000 for it. For thesis.com. And I remember thinking, my God, what a snake this broker is, but damn, kind of kudos. He found Mullenweg, and Mullenweg was mad enough to try and spend $100,000 on thesis.com to take it away. Well, I kind of laughed that off. I didn't really think it was serious. I was like, there's no way I'm going to pay that. And I think if he buys it, he's violating my trademark, so I guess we'll do that. Well, he did buy it. And then he immediately violated the trademark because he used it to point to themeshaper.com, which was a WordPress. It was a site to promote the building of WordPress themes. So this was an absolute violation of my trademark. I opened a trademark dispute, and what they do in these cases, they actually appoint a little kangaroo court before it goes to any real thing. And it's ICANN, I-C-A-N, they're like the domain registrar governing body for domains. Since it was about thesis.com, the dispute was about the domain. So they have this little kangaroo court, I forget what it's called, but it's 3 people, and they're people in the industry, okay, who get appointed to this board. Well, one of the 3 people on the board of my case was a freaking investor in Automatic. Come on, man. I've got no chance if the board is bought out. So anyway, the kangaroo court found that Matt was not in violation of my trademark. Shocking. Okay, it was clear. I had a lawyer. He was like, dude, this is a joke. This is rigged against you. But whatever. It didn't matter. I wrote about it on my site. I've got it all in there on pearsonified.com. If you want the history of Matt buying thesis.com for $100,000 just to spite me. But I bring that up to show that he has a record of hypocrisy about trademarks. He wants things his way or the highway, which is super hypocritical about this open, when you lead with openness and open source and inclusion and all this crap and then behave in this way, you're a fraud. You're a fraud. Matt Mullenweg, you're a fraud. Because of your behavior. Your actions make you a fraud. And that is ultimately what I don't like in this. I just don't like liars. I don't like people who try to use very vague legal justifications for the actions they take. I don't like when people are capricious, when they try to attack others who have upset them, like, Matt, I'm going to go on war against you. Like, what? What kind of behavior is this? And I also think that there is like a spiritual or energetic layer to this. If you are obsessed with somebody and want to attack them because they're doing something you don't like, that person owns you spiritually, energetically. They're your boss. They're your king. And that says its own thing, about the whole situation, about Matt, about the players involved. But it also leads to some really, really ugly consequences if this behavior goes unchecked over time. Matt has been a loose cannon now for 14 and a half years doing this kind of thing. He's not suffered any consequences at all. Never any. As far as this tortious interference with WPEngine is concerned, he did the same thing with me back in the day. I talked to lawyers about it. They're like, dude, you're going to get crushed. You're right, but you're going to get crushed. For example, after 2010, he wanted people to stop using Thesis. He was paying people to switch. He was buying them memberships to other themes just so they would stop using my stuff. He went behind the scenes and told my competitors that he was going to be helping them and basically did everything he could behind the scenes to destroy me. Now, fortunately for him, I'm not the type of person who holds grudges or does that because I don't want my energy to be held captive by him. He's a low-vibe person. Why would that would just cost me more. I've already paid a very high cost in the situation. I'm certainly not going to give up more to a demon. But I think this is amazing because Matt stepped on so many rakes over the years for no reason at all. But he's avoided the scrutiny. But I think this time might get him. There's a good chance that this might get him. But even if it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care. We have to live with ourselves at the end of the day. And I question whether or not a lot of people who are operating in these ways are able to do that for real. You can't lie to yourself at the end of the day. I think we all kind of get this. But I don't know. I'm just rambling now. But the bottom line is, Matt's not a good guy. He has a track record of behavior showing that he's not a good guy. He's not a consistent operator. He's not a principled operator. And he's taken the WordPress ship down with him. But this was always inevitable because his conduct has never been checked. And so what this will amount to in the end, like I said, Matt will suffer no personal consequences, no direct consequences from his behavior in this case. But the entire WordPress ecosystem, so this is officially the beginning of the end. It was already... WordPress is still, it powers most of the internet or whatever. Yeah, that's great. But long ago, many years ago now, at least 6 years ago, WordPress reached a state of, we use it, but we don't really care about it. We're not excited about it. There is no WordPress community anymore. Nobody's talking about stuff and excited. Somebody does some new thing in WordPress and tweets about it, and it freaking crickets. Nobody cares. And the reason nobody cares is because of the nonstop drama, the capriciousness in the ecosystem. You don't know who's going to be in the crosshairs next because it doesn't matter if you operate according to Matt's wishes now. You might run afoul of his capricious wishes later and get penalized then. So, these energetic currents don't go away. You can't just dismiss them. And eventually it's rotting out WordPress on the inside. There's no enthusiasm already. So like the spark of life was already gone, is already dead. But now this is officially the beginning of the end. There will be a replacement for WordPress at some point. And the only thing that is, holding back those floodwaters right now is the fact that so many large companies, service providers like WPEngine and plugins, essential plugins that do critical stuff like e-commerce features and this kind of thing is because those exist. The second there are reasonable alternatives for both, WordPress is screwed. People know, they understand intrinsically that there's a simpler solution out there for websites. They understand that WordPress has gotten too complex, is unnecessarily complex, and still retains a lot of this stuff that's difficult to understand or that makes things harder to teach new people because they have to maintain all this legacy stuff because it's 20, 21 years old. And that's the reality of software. Anything that has to carry a legacy burden for long enough is going to become obsolete. And WordPress is already heading there anyway. But these types of stupid public missteps just, they just accelerate the demise. All right? I don't like that any more than you probably do. I don't think that's great. I'm not saying WordPress is going to be dead tomorrow. It's not going to be like that. Really large beasts take a really long time to die, and this will be the case here as well. But Matt Mullenweg, stuck the spear in the carcass of WordPress today. It's done, and he's the reason why. And it was always going to be this way.